listening to Jaime's Local Love, the podcast, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.
Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Jaime Soretta. On this podcast, we celebrate everything local. And did you know there's a guy around town that they call the Fry Guy? I want to introduce you to Flip Isard of Frites Street, a.k.a. the Fry Guy. Hi, Flip.
Hey, girl.
Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Always good to be seen.
I mean, you do potatoes every which way.
Yeah.
So tell me about this potato journey for you.
This is the wildest ride I've ever been on. What started as a food truck in 2015, doing Belgian-style pommes frites on the street, making one shape of French fry, has transformed, pivoted, morphed into 11 shapes of potatoes, 300 acres of potato fields, and wholesaling to like 200 chefs around the country now. And yeah.
Okay, let's start with Belgian style. What is Belgian style?
So twice fried. A good potato needs to be cooked multiple times. Mm-hmm. Low temperatures, then high temperatures to get them creamy in the center, but like crispy on the outside. Mm-hmm. And Belgians, French, Germans, they all double fry their French fries, which is why they call them pommes frites, fried potatoes. But it's like that little technique and process makes them extra delicious.
Do you have a culinary background? Were you a chef?
Kind of. I was supposed to go to culinary school after high school and then didn't, but I was a nerd and loved working in restaurants, loved learning about food. So I have a small pedigree and a lot of like Google research.
YouTube University, they say.
Oh yeah, I am self-taught on a lot of these things. I've had some good mentors that have taken me under their wings.
Tell me, where are you from originally?
Born and raised in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah. Whereabouts? Where'd you go to high school?
Shadow Mountain, class of 2005.
Okay.
So grew up at like 32nd and Shea. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and lived in and out of Phoenix my whole life.
You were a roadie, though, before doing the Fry Guy.
Makes perfect sense.
It does for you, doesn't it?
That is a fair play. Fair play.
So tell me how you were a roadie.
So when I was in high school, I loved food and I loved music, and I would go to concerts, and I got really lucky. I met a local band called Authority Zero. They got signed to a major label, and I used to be like the little kid that would offer to help carry stuff in and out of the venue. And, I'll stand at the back of the room and sell T-shirts while you guys go on stage for an hour. Wow. And then they said, hey, do you want to get in the van and go around the country? And I said, okay. Like,
Flip, you're not supposed to get in the van. When people ask you to get in the van, don't get in the van.
There was no candy, no puppies, and I still got in the van. So
and you went to work.
Went to work. And little did I know, they got popular. They started doing a lot of national tours, and we played a festival in Phoenix, actually, called Edge Fest, way back in the day from that radio station. And I pissed off Jared Leto.
Oh, how?
They were set up next to us, and I outsold them. Their tour manager knew who I was through Authority Zero, and I made a sarcastic comment at 18 years of age, like, I outsold you guys tonight. And he's like, you want to go backstage and meet the guys? And I was like, yeah. And told him, introduced myself, and like, what are you doing? I was like, I might go to culinary school. I just graduated high school. And they go, okay. And woke up the next morning with an email that's like, hey, you leave Tuesday. Here's your visa. Here's your itinerary. Here's your pay. You want to go be our merchandise manager? And so 2000.
So then you started working for Jared.
So then I started working for Jared, and then his band blew up. And then, everything is one degree of separation, who I met from there, who I met from there. And so I went from them to another artist to another artist to another artist, and next thing I know, about 9 years of my life had gone by, which was awesome, and I got to see the world and live out of tour buses and have the time of my life. But I wound up being in England, working for a couple of UK artists, and every night would be a little intoxicated and go to a chip shop or a Frites shop in Amsterdam or in Germany. And when I was ready to try to figure out what to do next, it was like, well, I don't want to be a 27-year-old going to college and being 31, coming out, getting my first job, trying to compete with kids a decade younger than me. What do I do? And my dad kind of gave me this sit down and said, like, bet on yourself and you'll always have a job. Like, what do you like to do? And it was music and food. So kind of racked my brain and said, like, the food truck thing is starting to blow up in Arizona, and there's barbecue trucks and there's taco trucks and hot dog trucks, but nobody's doing like good French fries. Like nobody's doing like the process that I would see in England or in Amsterdam or in Germany. And so I was like, man, this could be the thing, and nobody would be threatened by us, and the menu just started to write itself. And then it was like, okay, well, we can do like garlic parmesan, we could do a poutine like in Canada, we could do carne asada fries, and everything delicious with French fries is delicious. And
Yes, it is. I totally agree.
Totally get it. And so we launched the food truck in 2015 going, palm frites on the street, which is why the company was called Frites Street.
I see.
Yeah. We ran
Here in the Valley.
Yeah, started in Phoenix, ran it all around the Valley, drove it up to Vegas a couple times for festivals, got to go to the Cardinal Stadium for 2 years to be part of their concessions. And then by accident, one of my mentors was a guy, Chef Bernie, over at the Gladly and Citizen Public House.
Yes.
And he helped me write my business plan, and him and Andrew kind of like sat me down as like, well, if you're going to do this, like you should understand, what a P&L is at least, what to look for in a balance sheet, how to cost out recipes. So they let me do like late night prep, run it on the menu on a Friday night just to test it when the truck was being built.
Oh, wow.
So,
what's P&L?
Profit and loss statement, like all the nerdy stuff that you have to think of as a business owner that
Which
I never.
I knew nothing about.
Yeah, no, I knew nothing of, and still have.
Learning.
Yeah, still learning. I got people that help me.
Yes.
But that was, like the evolution of Frites Street. Then started doing palm frites on the street, and then by accident I started selling frozen French fries out the back of the truck. And
to whom? Who's buying off the back of the truck?
So back in the day, without snitching on anybody, Stephen Jones bought some, Bernie was buying some, Colin Campbell was buying some, and it just started to take off, and people started to see fries by Frites Street on the side of the menu. And Keenan over at Pig and Pickle, and all these chefs started calling me asking, hey, can you make me French fries? And I was like, I can. But I'm a food truck. Yeah. So then I was like, all right, well, let me take my truck off the street for another day so I can use it to prep. Yeah. And then I'll drive it around and deliver more frozen French fries to chefs. And it got to the point where my business partner now, Josh Hebert, who owned Posh, was like, hey, dude, like, I don't think you realize what you did. I love your fries. Yeah. But this is what you should be doing. Don't save up to get a second food truck. Don't look for like a late night fry shop like you imagine going to. Right. Like, make French fries for every chef that wants a better product. I was like, oh. Whoa. That's a thing? It's like, yeah, that's a thing. And nobody's making French fries as good as you. Like, this is where we can scale. So
that was sage advice.
Yeah, it was really good advice. Thanks, Chef.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you, Chef. Once again, thank you, Chef.
And tell me a little bit about the potato, because he said you're selling the best potato. You're selling the best fry. Yeah. But you're a former roadie / food lover. Yeah. How are you finding the best product that these chefs wanted?
God bless Google. I knew enough, and Kennebec potatoes are a higher starch to sugar content potato. It's what In-N-Out uses. It's what Hop Dottie uses, but they're mostly used for potato chips. So like Frito-Lay uses a boatload of them to make their potato chips. They just have a higher starch content, so you can get them to be crispier. And through brining them, through blanching them, and cooling them at different temperatures, I was able to pull the water out, get the outside of this French fry to taste like a potato chip and be super crunchy, while the inside was like mashed potato-y.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah. And so, figuring this out, then we went up to Idaho and found a farm that grew them, shook their hands and was like, look, I'm a food truck. I want to start wholesaling. Yeah. Like, we have 80,000 acres. Whatever you want, like, we got you. And now it's like, oh, we have 280 acres with them, so it's grown from like a couple 100 pounds a week to a truck and a half a week, 2 trucks a week. Oh, and yeah.
And you are the fry guy.
I am the guy. So I'm very humbled and honored to be, the silent sous chef or the backbone to so many of these great restaurants, because now I get to go out to eat with my wife and my kids. And it's like, oh, Daddy's French fries are on the side of the plate. This is awesome, Like, I can't make everything else, but I can make a damn good French fry.
Yeah, so. I love that. And I love a love story. Yeah. You brought up your family. I got to hear about the family. Who married the fry guy?
My wife, Erica. God
sorry. Bless her.
God
we love
bless
her. We love her.
I definitely tricked her. She had no clue this is what it was going to be. But no, we started dating when she was a junior at U of A, and I was still a roadie. She then graduated U of A, applied for law school. I was a roadie until she pretty much graduated law school, because that was a really good income for me. And, we're getting her through law school. And then once she graduated, I opened the food truck, and we kind of like tagged off like, hey, you get the real job. I'm going to bet it all again. And let's just kind of see what happens. But yeah, that was my creative vision. And at least she knew, like, okay, she didn't ever have to cook, like.
That's true.
She's
and all a busy lawyer.
Yeah, she's a busy lawyer, and dinner is on the table every night, and it's delicious. Yeah. So.
And you have how many different products that you offer? Are big time chefs around town?
So we have like 11 French fries and potato chips and cubes that we make for restaurants. But it all started with one size French fry. So if you go to Tarbell's, they use our 3/4 by 3/4. Chef Mark was like the 4th or 5th chef that ever started ordering our products, and still to this day we're on his menu, which is amazing. Thank you, Chef.
Yes,
go Mark. He's awesome.
You mentioned these are high-end chefs.
Oh yeah, these are guys that care about quality, that want to be able to tell a story, that also care about. They're all locavores. They're farm to tables. They're the ones that are separating themselves, and that's. Everybody has a burger and fries. And so I've gone through so many meetings where it's like, hey, do you make your own brioche buns? No. You make your own pickles? No. You grind your own beef? No. You make your own mayo? No. So why is your burger better than your neighbor's? And it's like, Frites Street is part of that value add. Like, how do you separate yourself so that you can say, hey, you come here to get a better experience? And you got to be able to say, like, hey, we use Noble Bread, we use Abbey Lee tomatoes, we use McClendon produce, we use, Crow's Dairy, like all of these little things. Like, how do you boost your plate? Otherwise, it's just the same. The beers and the TV are the only differences from restaurant to restaurant.
So you really, to create this product that was superior, it was Google research? And
Google,
trial and error? Or
Google,
what?
Bon Appetit magazines. I still have the one episode of the one magazine that like had like an article on potato dehydration. And I was like, oh, that's a thing? And then like one chef would be like, hey, so-and-so freezes them. So-and-so does this. And I was like, oh, so-and-so holds them at this temperature because the sugar content will change. Oh, okay.
Quietly writing it all down and
Noted.
experimenting at home.
Right. Noted.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, I literally
interesting.
started with like a little tabletop fryer in my house. And I would have friends over once a week. Like, hey, guys, I need you to try this rendition.
Yeah.
And like, I've got 3 different bags, What's the difference? Well, I soaked this for this many hours. I soaked this for this many hours. I put ice in this. I put salt in this. I did a little sugar in this. Like, whatever I could figure out to tweak and modify until it was like, that's the one. And everybody that would come over that night were like, those are the best ones. Now, can you next week make those consistently, or was this a fluke, right? Like, you got to be able to, like, the world that I'm in now, I have to be consistent. So it's like, you got to be able to scale it. Anybody can make something great once, but can you consistently give that product to those people? And it was like, okay, by the time we opened the food truck, we knew exactly how to make one French fry. And so now it's like we've R&D'd 11 different shapes and sizes and temperature variations. And yeah, it's silly.
The science of the potato.
I never knew. There is a Dr. Potato. You know how like Butterball has like the Butterball hotline for Thanksgiving?
Yes.
The Idaho Potato Commission has a Dr. Potato line.
Have you called?
100 times. The
like,
best
hi,
thing,
Flip. What do you want?
The best thing was last year, Dr. Potato called me.
Oh. Did you answer?
Yes. And they call him like, hey, this is so-and-so, aka Dr. Potato. And I was like, stop it. What? I didn't submit any questions. And he's like, no, I have a question for you. And I was like, oh, really? Really? The students become the teacher? And he's like, yeah, I have a question about the this and to the that. And I like went down the rabbit hole with him and like, oh, okay, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're just going to respond to this client that was asking this question. Whoa. And I was like, I was the phone a friend. Like, Dr. Potato called me to answer a question. Like, I've done it. I have learned enough to pay it forward, to pass it on. This is awesome.
You need a plaque for that.
Oh, my God. I still, like, I froze and I was like, all right, somebody's messing with me right now, right? Like, Dr. Potato's calling me. Like, go on. All right, what do you want, bud? No, seriously. I'm like, oh, that's a Boise, Idaho number. Oh, this is a real phone call. Like, okay.
So are you part of some kind of Idaho commissions or with the Potato Society or Association?
They know who I am.
Oh, yeah. They're aware of you.
Yes. And they're big fans. Big fans.
Oh,
so thank you, Idaho Potato Commission, for all of that you've done over the last year. But yeah, I mean, now that I'm pulling 40,000+ pounds of potatoes out of Idaho a week, like, I'm showing up on the radar a little bit, you know?
All of a sudden they know who you are.
Yeah.
And you do have some new products. What are they?
So this last year we made a waffle fry. We made a lattice potato chip, which is like a gaufrette or a crisscross looking potato chip. And I made that for the Wynn of all the places. Like, I got
Vegas?
to start the super fancy hotel.
Yes. Yeah. I've heard of it. Never
been. Yeah. But like, it's crazy. These are the phone calls and opportunities that we're now getting put in front of. And it's like, hey, can you make us a this? And it's like, I mean, I could figure it out. Yeah. Like, okay, well, like we want to have this product in 4 months. Can you make it by then? I was like, sure, I'll figure that out. Yeah.
And this is a business that opened with a food truck
in
2014.
Yeah.
So about 10 years.
Yeah.
You've been grinding about 10 years.
Yeah, I have 22 employees now.
Wow.
Like when the food truck started, it was myself, it was my original business partner, and one person.
Yeah.
And like now it's 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, 22 employees, health insurance and benefits for my crew. Like I've been able to like make this company what I would want to work in and have the respect and to promote from within. But like, it's crazy. Like it hits me sometimes that my payroll used to be like 4 months worth of sales. And it's like, oh my God, like, wow, we're really doing it now. This isn't like a cute, oh, I'm at the farmer's market. It's like oh no, like
you've got a warehouse.
Yeah.
And expanding.
Yeah. And I've got distribution and trucks and things and food safety audits and and we're 3 weeks away from moving into our new facility.
Oh.
And I am so excited. It's been like 2 years in the process.
Yeah, I think we talked about it.
Yeah, of building this plant so that we can increase production and scale again. And it's like, here it comes. Like, here it is. Like, all the hard work is like, you're going to be one of the first people to come down and see it.
Oh, good. I hope so.
But like, I am so excited to show the world like what they've helped us and supported us to get to do. Because like now this is a whole new ride I'm about to go on.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
It must feel so good. And I wanted to tell the people where they can we buy as an individual? Because we can find them in a lot of places. Are you about to do something? Why are you looking at me funny?
So yes, if you go to a very large retail store called Walmart, you can find our products co-packed with one chef's product. Kind of have to be careful on this because it's not our brand, but we make the potatoes for a fish and chips package. If you go to Walmart and look up for a very famous English chef who sometimes has been known for having a temper, you will find our chips with their fish. For about $6.99, you put it in your toaster oven for 20 minutes, and they're perfect.
Oh, perfect. Well, then I'll let someone else eat the
Yeah,
fish.
you take the clue.
Yeah,
you take the chips all day.
I love it. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You also have a ton of places around town.
Yeah.
Where else?
So Hush, Aftermath, Fire at Will, Mauna Lucia, Valley Ho, Phoenician, JW Marriott, Arizona Wilderness, Ingo's Buck and Rider, the Princess. It's amazing. I mean,
Flip, you grew up here. You're listing the best places
every
in
restaurant
town.
that I went to as a kid, every place that I want to take my wife to, I get to make their potatoes.
Congratulations.
And it's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it must be just like, I mean, my eyes are watering.
Yeah.
Just to see your dream come true. And then it was something that was so, you know, when I was a roadie in England, I really liked this chip thing they had going on.
Yeah.
And now you're really contributing to all these restaurants all around town.
Yeah, it's such a cool experience. Like I love and respect what Arizona has built as being a really cool, inclusive. Everybody, you know, has an opportunity to grow here, but I've earned the respect of so many awesome restaurateurs and chefs. I mean, I get to do all the Chef Joey and Sicilian and Hash Butcher and all of his stuff.
He's fun, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a trip.
He is. I love him.
But like the Clever Koi guys have seen me since the beginning. They use my products. The Sam Fox new hotel, we're doing a bunch of
Global
stuff
ambassador.
for. Yeah, my first job was at Subway when I was at 16.
Yes.
And then I left there after a few months to be a busboy at Bloom when that opened.
Oh, yes. I
And
remember.
like that was my job in high school, and I pinched myself when I went down to the Henry to meet with their corporate chefs to talk about products for this new hotel. And I was like, I don't think you guys understand, and I don't want to nerd out on you too much.
Yes.
When I was 17 years old, I was a busboy for his like third restaurant, and he's got 60 concepts, and he's, you know, he's blown up. But I'm like, this is beyond humbling that I'm standing here today to like show you guys products and for you guys to give me the time and respect. Like I was like, this is awesome.
You know, people think that there's just a bunch of transplants here in Phoenix and around Arizona.
I'm sure there are. This time of year, the traffic is terrible.
But there are people like you who grew up here, born and raised here. You've been, you know, meeting, like you said, Sam Fox and his influence. He's been here for, there's still so many people who are born and raised
100%.
Arizonans who stayed here and built something really cool here as well.
Yeah, no, this is a really cool community. And it's different. I mean, obviously, we all live and breathe on the tourism industry, and we need the peoples to come and go. But the summertime, we're still here. We're still grinding. You know, like the core chefs and business owners. Like we built things for people to come to enjoy, but it's also for us to go and enjoy ourselves. And that's really cool. Like, I'm just as welcome as somebody from Minnesota.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Shout out.
Shout out to Minnesota.
Nothing against nothing against Minnesota. Thank you for coming. I'm sure it's miserably cold, and it's 70 degrees outside today.
It's going to be 80 this weekend.
Yeah.
So tell me about the jump. On this podcast, I like to ask about the jump before going into business for yourself. Chasing this wild dream, the YouTube University.
Yeah.
They're kind of trying to duplicate what they're doing in England and then blossoming into what it's become. What would you tell someone else who's got some wild dream that they want to chase right here in the Valley?
If you're gonna do it, go all in. I love talking to other people that ask me like, hey, how did you get to where you are? And you know, I have an idea, I want to do this, but I was like, look, if you're gonna do it, you got to go all in. And it's the only way you'll figure out if you sink or swim. Because if you're like, I do this or I moonlight like this, or I do this on the weekends, or this is a hobby, it's like you're never going to give it the amount of commitment it takes as if it's all on this. Because it's scary. And there are more bad days than good, but those little wins keep you going. And you don't figure out if it's going to work until that's all you've got. And it's kind of like you've got to be crazy enough to bet it all. Like, I used to love to gamble. When I was a roadie, I loved to gamble. We go to Vegas, we play at Mandalay Bay. It's like, cool, as soon as I pack up at House of Blues, I'm going to the roulette wheel. And I would play for a few hours, and I would have a lot of fun. And, you know, you lose some money, you win some money. I don't gamble anymore in Vegas when I go to work or when I'm at a casino. But I'm a professional gambler as a small business owner because you have to be able to say, like, I have an idea. Like, to make waffle fries was a $60,000 purchase. To buy a piece of equipment to make a waffle fry to sell for $2 a pound. So you got to be like crazy enough to say like, I'll bet 60 grand that people like my waffle fries.
Ooh.
And then I'm going to start at $2 a pound and work my way up to hopefully be able to justify buying a $60,000 piece of equipment. Okay, well, like, you can't do that if you're like, oh, I have this idea.
Did you win that bet?
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who likes our waffle fries. They're really good. I love them too.
So you say you're betting yourself, and that was advice your dad gave you.
Yeah.
What's the family say now?
I mean, just enough disappointment to keep me fueled to, you know, always work harder. But everybody loves everybody respects what I've done. They're rooting for me, and they see the hard work starting to pay off. I mean, when you're in hospitality, you miss nights, you miss you miss your weekends, you miss your holidays, you miss your 4th of July, you miss your friends' birthday parties. When I had my food truck, it was 120 hours a week, and every 4th of July or spring break or Super Bowl, right? Like, you're getting booked to do an event, so you're by yourself chasing that dream, but you're sacrificing all the family stuff and the friend stuff. And I would love to take that vacation, but I can't. I have a service. And so, like, you have to, you know, it's great to be able to start to say, you know, 9 years down the road, I'm able to start having that balance again. But you have to be willing to sacrifice that if you really want to try to be successful, because you got to go all in to really see it work.
Get the win.
Yeah. Yeah. And now I can appreciate it, you know, because I know I scrapped and I clawed and I sweat and I bled for so long to get to where we are now.
What are you loving right now in Arizona? What are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you reading? What are you doing? What are you just loving here?
So I love the weather. I tolerate the summers. I love this weather. I hate the snow. So, like, this winter, I got to wear my hoodie today, had my heated seat on with the windows down. And I was like, oh, it's 65 degrees outside as I'm driving here, getting a hot coffee. Yeah, so this is perfect. Yeah, this is perfect. My guilty pleasure right now is, so my facility's in the Scottsdale Air Park, and Nelson's just opened a Scottsdale location. And on Thursdays, shout out Chris, it is lobster roll day in Scottsdale. And I would never make it down to the Indian school locations, but I've treated myself to about 2 or 3 lobster rolls, and I'll just eat it in my car real fast. And just oh, it's my 10 minutes of happiness. Like, damn, that's good.
I love it. All right, Nelson. So shout out to them.
Shout out to
on
Chris.
Thursdays in Scottsdale. You brought something.
Yeah.
What is it? So
these are our potato chips. These are called our cowboy chips. It's one of our products. We sell frozen. I don't know if you know this. We have a mutual friend. One of the small business owners that I came up with is a guy named Sterling Smith. He owns a company called Loot and Booty. Just so happens to be married to your sister
for some 20 years or so.
Yeah, for a few years, and they have 2 adorable kids. And his house is on the way to my warehouse, and I will text him, you know, hey, I'm down the street, and can I pick up some seasonings? He's like, absolutely, buddy, come on by. And so I made some potato chips, and I seasoned them. These are our barbecue-flavored potato chips. Absolutely, we should have some. But I thought if there was ever a time to bring snacks, you know.
I love a good snack. We all know this. I grab one, and then cheers. And you put the Loot and Booty on this?
So I used his everything rub. But it was like the perfect barbecue seasoning to sprinkle on a fried potato. Yeah.
And the chip is perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I hope your microphone can pick up the crunchiness.
I think it does. I'm getting a thumbs up from the booth. Flip Isard with Frites Tree. I am so happy for you. Valley native, making his dream come true, the fry guy.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Jamie's Local Love, the podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Soretta. Our technician is Tom Heidinger. Our editors are Lorraine Shearing and Gina Coy. Do you know a business worthy of some local love? Email me at jsoretta@azfamily.com. Follow us at facebook.com/Soretta and Instagram @SorettaNews. Make sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star review, please. And tell your friends about the podcast and the businesses we feature to show your local love. You can find us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
Jamie's Local Love, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.